Hello, everyone. Another story today at Cindy Harper Speaks, and we're going to learn about a man of music, Duke Ellington. If you haven't heard of him before, he is infamous. This is written by Erick Montgomery. Duke Ellington was a great composer and musician. How did he change music in America? As you read the story, monitor your understanding and reread any parts you need to clarify. His real name was Edward, but his friends called him Duke. Duke Ellington was born in the city of Washington, D.C. in 1899. His great talent for music took him all over the world, and people all over the world came to know and love his wonderful music and his beautiful smile. Duke Ellington began to study piano when he was 7. He liked to play ragtime. Ragtime is a lively music that is played strong and fast. Duke played and thought about music all the time. When he was 14, he wrote his first song, Soda Fountain Rag. Duke and some of his friends began to play music together. They started a band in Washington, D.C. When Duke was 24 years old, he decided to go to New York City. In New York, Duke started a band called the Duke Ellington Orchestra. An orchestra is a large band with musicians who play different instruments. Duke played the piano and led the orchestra. He also, wrote the songs that they played. Mood Indigo and Sophisticated Lady were two very popular songs that Duke wrote. In 1927, the orchestra got a job playing at the famous Cotton Club in a part of New York City called Harlem. The Duke Ellington Orchestra also played songs on the radio. Many people were able to listen to his music in their homes. The Duke Ellington Orchestra in 1927. And this is Duke Ellington at age 4. Duke wrote most of the music his orchestra played. He started to make a new kind of music. He and the other musicians in his orchestra would improvise as they played. When musicians improvise, they make the music up as they play. The Duke Ellington Orchestra became famous for their improvised music. Duke's orchestra played a new, fun kind of music that surprised people. This music made people want to dance. Sometimes it was smooth, sometimes it was lively, and sometimes it was slow and sad. So here's Duke and his improvising orchestra. And then this is the Cotton Club in Harlem, New York City. Duke loved to work with other talented musicians. In 1959, Duke began working with songwriter Billy Strayhorn. They worked together for 40 years and wrote hundreds of songs together. One of their songs was Take the A Train. The A Train is the subway train in New York City that goes to Harlem. It became one of Duke Ellington's best-known songs. So here's a picture of Duke Ellington with Billy Strayhorn. In the 1930s and 1940s, and this says in 1939. In the 1930s and 1940s, many bands played a type of music called swing. Swing music made people tap their feet. People loved to dance to swing. The Duke Ellington Orchestra played swing all over the United States. All over America, people danced to swing music. In 1943, the Duke Ellington Orchestra was invited to play at Carnegie Hall in New York City. It was a great honor for them to be invited. At that time, few African Americans had ever played at the famous hall. Duke Ellington decided to write a new, serious song for the special event. The song was called Black, Brown, and Beige. It was not dance music. It was music that told the story of African American people, but not everyone liked his song. Duke had always wanted to play music that told the story of African Americans, Black, brown, and beige helped Duke make his dream come true. Here's Duke performing at Carnegie Hall. And here's Duke getting ready for Carnegie Hall. Duke said that his music was the voice of his people. He played his music everywhere, and people who heard Duke's music always wanted to hear more. Duke Ellington never got tired of writing music. When people asked what his favorite song was, Duke liked to answer, "The next 5 coming up." He would make music for a long time. Duke Ellington flashes his famous smile. From 1941 to 1945, the United States was fighting in World War II. It was a difficult time for everyone. The Duke Ellington Orchestra helped people smile and feel better. Families at home listened to Duke's music over the radio. Soldiers far away listened to Duke's music on the radio too. His music was a bright light in a dark time. Duke's music was a bright light for U.S. soldiers in World War II. The Duke Ellington Orchestra sometimes had guest singers. One of the most popular guest singers was Ella Fitzgerald. Her voice was wonderful and her singing was very special. She could improvise with her voice just as the other musicians could with their instruments. Another famous guest was Louis Armstrong, who played the trumpet and sang. Louis Armstrong was another musician who used his voice like his instruments. He played New Orleans-style jazz music. In 1969, Duke received the Presidential Medal of Freedom. This honor is given to people for service to the United States. Duke received this award for all the years of beautiful music that he gave to his country. President Richard Nixon presents Duke with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Duke Ellington discovered new ways of playing music, but most of all, he was a brilliant composer, and he helped bring jazz to the world. Duke Ellington and his orchestra were called the best jazz band in the United States. They played and recorded new music for over 50 years. Musicians all over the world have studied his music. Even today, famous musicians love to play Duke's music. Today, musicians like Wynton Marsalis still play Duke's music. Very famous. Duke Ellington was a quiet and gentle man who spoke through his music, which made people listen, dance, and tap their feet. In a career of more than 50 years, Duke Ellington made people happy all over the world. Where and when was Duke Ellington born? Why did people love Duke Ellington's orchestra? Made them happy. In what way was Duke Ellington's music new or different? He improvised, he brought swing and just beautiful music to the world. What kind of music do you like? What do you like about it? Absolutely phenomenal. Duke Ellington. Learned a lot about him that I didn't know. And we know he was born in 1899 in Washington, D.C. Absolutely wonderful. It's beautiful when you take your talent, and some of our talents we share with the world. Some people's talents they're able to share with the world. Some of us, our world is small. It may be our community. It may be our school. It may be our job site. But whatever your gifts and talents are, share them with others. If you like Duke Ellington, Man of Music, please press like at the end, and I'll see you next time at Cindy Harper Speaks. Thanks for tuning in, and bye for now.